So, about 20 years ago, I was the early childhood educator at a children's museum. My role was to oversee programming for children under 5 within the museum and also to do outreach with various community organizations around what children under 5 need. In the museum, we had a outside space with a garden. It was a sensory garden. Children could just come and relax in the garden, but also take part in any planting or harvesting activities that we might have been doing at the time. So one day, a child dug up a potato from the garden and ran over excitedly telling his parent, look what I found. And the educator who was in the space noticed and mentioned to the child, oh, you are welcome to take that potato home with you. But the mom protested, oh, no, thank you. We don't eat that type of potato. We eat the clean kind that you can find in the grocery store. Now, not only does this story represent a disconnect now that people nowadays have from where our food actually comes from, but also just a misunderstanding of dirt and what exactly it is and whether it is harmful or not. So I am Nicole Dravilis-Fravel, and this is Wildwood Teaching. And today I'm going to flip dirt on its head, and I'm going to talk about the benefits that children and adults get from dirt, whether that's digging in a garden or playing in a mud kitchen or just making holes. Now, many adults have kind of a fear of letting children play in the dirt, and actually some children have this fear as well, and it comes from right there in its name. It's dirt. It's dirty. It has bacteria and germs and other stuff in it. But really, there are health and emotional and cognitive benefits that children gain from playing in the mud. So first, talk about the health benefits. So yes, there are microbes in dirt, but the truth is that exposure to these microbes, to this bacteria, just a little bit over time, right? Say getting it under your fingernails when you're digging in the garden, actually helps to inoculate children in the long run. It helps the body create antibodies, which boost the immune system so that later in life, children who dig in the dirt actually experience reduced rates of asthma, reduced rates of allergies, reduced inflammation in the gut. And there are emotional benefits as well. So when you are digging in the dirt, you're also inhaling those microbes. And when you breathe in the smell of dirt, it stimulates serotonin production. Now, serotonin is the chemical that relaxes the body, that helps you sleep, that stabilizes the mood. And if you are harvesting food that you've grown yourself in the garden, you get that same reaction that the child had in the museum. Look at this. Look what I grew. So you get a little dopamine hit in your brain, right? So that the soil, those two, serotonin and dopamine working together, kind of like this drug-free antidepressant. And so children digging in the dirt can actually enter a relaxed state. And we know the educators, that if you want children to challenge themselves, to take the risks necessary for learning, they need to lower their affective filter. They need to be in a stress-free environment to be ready to learn. Beyond that, there are a number of other cognitive benefits to digging in the dirt. So digging in the soil or playing with mud, that is a sensory experience. We already talked about the smells as you are playing with dirt, right? Depending on how much moisture it has or the components of the soil, there are different textures to the soil. You can also visually see the different colors created by the different types of soil, by the different layers of soil, by the components that are in the soil. So just like any other sensory experience in early childhood, you get the benefits like developing fine and gross motor skills, hand-eye coordination if you are attempting to dig a hole in the dirt. Children get to stretch their imaginations, use their creativity, particularly if they are working in a mud kitchen, right? This is a representational object that I am using to represent pie or a birthday cake. They can also explore science and math concepts within the mud kitchen or just with a pile of dirt and some scoops, right? They're exploring math. They're exploring volume. When they transfer the dirt from one object to another, right? They are looking at how does it behave in different shaped containers. You're getting conservation of mass with that as well, right? If children are digging in the garden or digging a hole, they might have the opportunity to explore the components that are in soil, the tiny creatures, worms and bugs that are in soil, the different parts of a plant, seeds and leaf matter or roots that you might find in the soil, which are then going to lead to questions and hopefully with an interested adult, help them explore those science concepts further. And when you have that sensory experience in nature, like playing with mud, playing with dirt, you have the added benefit that you're connecting children to our nature and helping them to understand an ecosystem, right? Understanding how things grow in a garden, understanding how things get from the farm to the grocery store to our table. Also understanding how interdependent we humans are on the plants and animal life that they're finding in the dirt, right? So we have benefits, right? It's not just fun. Now, the fun is great, right? But it's not just fun. There are actual health, emotional, and cognitive benefits to letting children play in the dirt. So go ahead, encourage children to play in the dirt, right? Set up a mud kitchen, plant something in a school garden, dig holes. Make sure you and the children are wearing clothes that can get dirty. And go ahead and get the mud wet and slide and muck about. Feel those differences in texture with their whole bodies. Try it out. The summer is a great time to get messy. And then join me here next week when I will be talking about shells as a loose part. So if you're out there on the beach gathering some shells, what you can do to have some learning activities in your preschool. I will see you then.